Hello, everybody. I'm Victoria Vega, and I'm here to present to you my age-appropriate expectations presentations and what expectations I have within my personal classroom that I work in and what they look like. So for my table of context and what I will be discussing in this presentation, 1, I'll be discussing classroom expectations. 2, students' age group and teacher count. 3, play routine expectations. 4, age-appropriate expectations. 5, improvements for age appropriateness. 6, communications of expectations. 7, appropriateness of communication. And 8, cultural and family alignment. So number 1, we have classroom expectations. So I put just a really broad aspect of what my classroom expectations are. So that would look like small voices inside, big voices on the playground or outside, hands and body to yourself at all times, walking feet in the classroom, and walking from classroom to bathroom. We use our words to the best of our ability. I say to the best of our ability because we do have some kids who are have speech impediments, are developmentally delayed, or are autistic. So I do want to put that to our best of our abilities because we do have to assist with using those words and guiding students through that process. We refer to our teachers by name, not by teacher. We have really struggled with that this year, and so we've really made that an expectation. Calm bodies. When it's circle time, we sit on the rug and we can sit however is comfortable as long as we're sitting on our bottoms. This is a huge one. And I will go over that in more of a specific sense, but I really wanted to put that because that's a huge classroom expectation that we have. And then what we refer to as green choices and red choices. Make a green choice, refrain from red choices. We rarely talk about red choices just because those are negative behaviors. So we really hit on if a child's making a red choice, we try to say, hey, make a green choice, or I like how so-and-so is making a green choice. So if I refer to green choices and red choices, that's what I'm referring to, and I will hit on that when I talk about different communication aspects that we have. So moving on to age group and teacher count. The teachers in my classroom that I work in are Miss Martha, who's our lead teacher. Then there's me, Victoria Vega, who's a paraprofessional. Miss Sue, who is also a paraprofessional. So there's always 3 full-time teachers within the classroom. And then we do have a high school intern that comes from the high school neighboring our elementary school, but he is only part-time and participates in the PM class. So students and their age group, all students in our preschool classroom from ages 3 years to 5 years, not yet in kindergarten. This is a mix of age in both groups, so this is considered preschool age. There's a total of 16 students in our AM group, which goes from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., and 13 students in our PM group that goes from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So, with that being said, we are going to move into play routine expectations. So, I did a slide for each of the expectations we have in different areas of the classroom, and I will go over that now. So, the first one I want to hit on is our whole group circle time expectations. I inserted a picture of our very cute leaf carpet that we sit on during our whole group circle time activity. So 4 expectations that we have during this time is that everyone finds a leaf and sits on it. It doesn't matter which one, as long as they're sitting on it. Some students choose to sit on the same leaf all year. Some students choose different leaves. As long as they're sitting on a leaf, that's what matters. We have a little song that goes with it. So they know their expectation is to be sitting on a leaf, which there is many leaves on this rug, so that's not hard to do. Then students are expected to make green choices like I'd referred to, not red ones. This is good behaviors and bad behaviors we discussed at the beginning of the year, and we call them, again, green and red choices. So again, we will refer to make a green choice when we're sitting on the rug. And then again, like I hinted in the whole expectations, that students can sit on the rug any way they wish as long as they're sitting up and on their bottoms. We really hint that we don't really It doesn't matter that how their legs are, whether they want to be mountain legs, whether they want to be crisscross applesauce, just that they're sitting on their bottoms and they're sitting up. And then our last expectation for whole group circle time is students are expected to raise their hands to indicate they have a question or need to say something. So moving forward to play routine expectations number 2, it's our library expectations. The library is open during choice time. So some expectations that we have in our library are that there are no other outside toys from the library section in the library. So only books are to be used in the library. If and again, that reading in the library is for reading books alone. They can read by themselves, they can read with friends or out loud, but it is only to be reading books. Another expectation we have is to really hit with the kids that this is an area that's mostly supposed to be on the quiet side. Our quiet cube is sat next right to the library for a reason. So really try to encourage those calm bodies and those quiet voices in the library. And then 2, after they're done using the book, they are to put it back where it came from safely. So then moving forward, we have our washing hands expectations. We wash hands as our morning activity, and really all throughout the day as needed. So students are expected to use 1 pump of soap. They're expected to turn off the sink when they're done washing off their soap. Students are expected to pump only 3 times, so 1, 2, 3 on the paper towel dispenser and then rip the paper from it. And then students are expected to throw away that paper towel after they're finished drying their hands. You can see on the back wall right here where the sink is, that is our communication tool that shows them visuals of other students washing their hands as well as the verbal direction of that. So moving forward to our choice time expectations, this is another example on the rug, but one of my students was using their blocks on the rug. So some choice time expectations we have is if a student, let's say, were to want whatever another student is playing with at the time, they're to say, when you're done using it, can I please use it? And they go and play something else while they wait for their turn using that toy. And when that student is done using that toy, they are expected to go hand it to the student who asked. Another expectation we have is before they go into choice time, they have to come to one of us teachers and say, I would like to go work in, and tell us where they would like to work. Again, this is to the best of their ability, like we talked about using their words. A lot of the times this is guided and helped, but it is a good expectation and implementation that we have. Students are also expected to ask if they can play in an area before entering and starting playing in themselves. Like depicted in this picture, you can see one of my students, he is playing very well independently, and we would expect other students to ask him before entering and play with him. And then, of course, students are expected to clean up the area they were working in before they move on to the next area. So moving forward to age-appropriate expectations. So from the ELOF link goals, I linked some goals I feel like went well with some of these group areas. Some of them were hard, like the library expectations, but I tried to link as well as I could. So some whole group expectations that I feel like link well with the ELOF goals are children demonstrate increased ability to control impulses, which is because they're expected to sit for a longer period of time and let us know when they need to speak. Library expectations link with child maintains focus and stays attention with minimal support. A lot of our students who read are in there for a long time, almost the whole choice time if they're reading books. Another thing with washing hands expectations is that they demonstrate initiative and independence because the washing hand station is set up with intention that the student does it themselves. And then, of course, choice time expectation links to the goal of child engages in cooperative play with other children. So moving forward to improvement of age appropriateness, I feel like a lot of our expectations are very age appropriate. However, one I really want to hit on is that expectation we have in choice time of the students asking if they can use with another toy, the toy that the student is using with, if when they're done using it. However, I feel like this sometimes is too advanced for our students. A lot of our students don't understand that they need to wait. Other students feel pressured to give the toy because of it, and some students play with the toy the whole time, and then it doesn't give the child any chance to play with the toy, even though they've waited the whole choice time to play with it. So I want to go into like how to tweak that a little bit and make it more age appropriate. Another thing I want to do is regularly check in on these expectations to make sure they're age appropriate. This does mean being more attentive to play and how the expectations are being received and played out in real time. So going forward to that communication of expectations, these are some real examples in my classroom. So going really back to those green choices I talked about a lot. We don't have the red choices hung up in the classroom because that's just our negative behaviors. So we don't like to demonstrate those. However, we do have our green choices hung up. And then our whole group reminder communication, we have a sit on the floor, hands to self, eyes on teacher, listening ears, and whisper voice. So then moving on to appropriateness of communication, I do think they're age appropriate, like I said earlier, and they're easy to follow. We learned in the classroom rules video the importance of only having minimal steps in at a time. And I do feel like in that sentence strip that I just showed of communication of expectations, it's minimal steps. And they're very simple and easy to follow and age appropriate. And then some things I suggest for change is I really want to establish communication level with students at the beginning of the year to help establish classroom rules together. I feel like so many times us teachers go into the school year and it's important that we have these expectations and rules, but I feel like it's also important that we have a level of respect to also understand what our students value in rules and expectations and what we should establish based on their needs and wants. And so I kind of want to have rules and expectations that I definitely need to implement no matter what, but then also have rules and expectations that are established by students with a group conversation we have at the beginning of the year. This is something I really want to establish because I will be having my own classroom next year. Because I will be graduating this year, so that's super exciting, but it's something I do want to implement as I go into this next school year in my own classroom. So then we have culture and family alignment. Culture alignment. I do want to add more culture customs and language and different labels throughout the classroom. I feel like we only have English labels, and I do want to implement other language labels such as Spanish due to some of our students being DLL students. I also want to understand the culture at home and how that stems to behaviors within the classroom. We learn this a lot in that cultural appropriate positive behaviors in classroom article that we had this week, and that also ties into my family alignment of understanding how to combat behaviors and cultures that are done at home that clash with classroom expectations, such as like being given everything or everything being done for the student. So thank you for listening to my presentation. That wraps up all my resources, and feel free to ask me any questions. Thank you.